It's not even just any Tuesday.
It's Super
Tuesday.
Super Tuesday. Susan's finally back in the Midwest. She's in Chicago. Got home last night, and
and what do you think the reaction of my dog, who hasn't seen me in 2 months, was?
Well, Susan, news travels fast in our family, and I have already been informed that your dog, who you abandoned for 2 months, growled at you.
He barked at me.
Yeah, he barked. Okay. Oh, we got the fire alarm going on, so I've got my eyes closed. Hey, Alex, tell me when it's over. Okay, thanks.
Well, at least we know now it's the first Tuesday.
Is that what it is? So it's the first Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to happen so often. It's ridiculous. Damn strobes.
All right. Well, anyway, he barked at me, and then...
As well he should have.
And I walked away and just let him figure it out. And then 2 seconds later, he tackled me, and he had his arms around my neck. And he hugged me for 15 minutes.
Aw, that's nice.
Just with his arms absolutely wrapped around my neck. It was very funny. It was very cute. And then he sort of slept on top of me last night.
There you go. So you're home. All things are... okay. And
no, but he's very confused because now he has two mommies. So he's going, but where's Leah?
Well, it's nice to have two mommies. And, it's okay these days to have two mommies.
Right. Ernie has two mommies.
Yes. Could be a book. So is our mommy there?
Our mommy is here.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to get, she's there. And when's she going back to the
hopefully
frozen tundra?
We'll go back to Green Bay tomorrow, weather permitting.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, winter has returned.
Just this week, and there is, apparently a storm sweeping through, every day. But I don't know whether that's true or whether that's a weather fiction.
Oh, you mean, you mean hysterical weather prognosticators.
Right,
yeah.
Right. I mean, if I had listened to the weather about Chicago, I was terrified we weren't going to get home yesterday. We came home to a dry city. And I thought I was going to wake up to 6 inches, and there's a little bit of freezing rain.
Yeah. Well, that's media's reason for being these days, is to just scare the shit out of you in any way they can. And they've done a hell of a job.
They absolutely have.
Hell of a job,
And we're going to have President Trump as a result.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, so I heard something that was really... wow, on my way in to work. I drove in. So I'm listening to satellite radio, and I'm listening to, I don't know what it was, MSNBC or CNN or one of those things. Anyway, it was David Gergen, who I think of as a wise man. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay. David Gergen, who has served presidents of both stripes, Democratic and Republican, and who just is a smart guy with, I think, good character. And he was saying, I was stunned by it, he was saying that if Trump seals this thing up, like he's expected to pretty much almost do it today, right? And then finish it off on March 15th. He said it is conceivable. He said the establishment is still pulling out everything they can. They are going to throw everything they can at Trump, trying to stop him. And he said if they don't stop him, he can see an attempt at the Republican convention, even though Trump walks into it with enough delegates to secure the nomination. All they have to do is read the roll call and it's over. And he says even if Trump has the delegates, he can see an effort one of those backroom things, to take him down at the convention. Some strong-arm tactics where delegates are Can you imagine such a thing?
Well, I think you're already seeing it. I mean, when there was a Republican senator from Nebraska, I think, yesterday that came out and said,
I'm not going to support him.
But I can't.
But here's what Gergen seemed to suggest or say. He's that between, let's say, Trump seals it up pretty much in 2 weeks. That's a long time. You've got then the rest of March, April, May, June. I don't even, when's our convention? July? I don't know. You've got all those months. And he said in that term, he's bound to just make himself so unelectable that the party is going to, excuse me, but that's what we've been saying all along. That isn't what is happening. And people don't seem to care that he is the darling of white supremacists who he doesn't know. People don't seem to care that he's a dishonest guy, that he's a bully, and that his business practices are not of the most ethical. People don't seem to care. They know all that. So I want to know what Gergen thinks is going to happen that hasn't already happened, that's suddenly going to change all these people's minds. Because I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. But I think
we need to figure out whether Hillary can beat him.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a front page piece in the Times today about how never in their wildest dreams did the Clinton campaign think that they would have to be figuring out exactly that. How do we beat Donald Trump? But and somebody else suggested. So here's the Clinton campaign, this huge behemoth of every, not wanting for any of the devices that modern political presidential campaigns have, the savvy, the wherewithal, been there, done that, blah, 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 going up against, essentially, he said it's like a big super tanker going up against Somali pirates. That's Trump. And so Somali pirates can take down these super tankers. It's because the tankers can't move fast enough. They can't, whatever. But you're right. And Roger Cohen has said, it's another, I believe he's a Republican. He says Trump is a man repeatedly underestimated. It's like what you were saying. So we keep saying, well, now he's gone too far. Well, now he's gone too far. The Pope gets taken down by him. Now he's cozy with the KKK and white supremacists. Nothing. His people don't care. Brett Stevens, hyperventilating in the Wall Street Journal today, says, the candidacy of Donald Trump is the open sewer of American conservatism. And this Super Tuesday polls show a plurality of Republican voters intend to dive right into it. And then he goes on to say, and all of this stuff, all the negatives, all of the crap that, that you can throw at him, none of it seems to have made the slightest dent in his popularity. And if anything, it seems to have enhanced it. That the public is eating up what this guy calls Trump's political pornography.
Well, it's sort of the tornado effect. It's little at the bottom, but the stronger it gets, the more it starts sucking in. And so now you got a whole group of people, who go, well, he's going to win, so I'm going to vote for him.
That's true. There is a huge bandwagon effect. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
We've got a caller, Susan, a gentleman caller, perhaps. Hello. 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 Hello.
Helen, it's Mike from D.C.
Mike. Susan, are you there? Suze? No, we knocked my sister off. Okay, but Mike from D.C. So what do you think?
Well, first, thanks for all the shout out. With every time you say Rubio, you reference me because I've been listening in the history, and that's funny. So, but second, I think the GOP
Oh God, Alex,
are going to change the rules on Trump, because if you look at the times that the Republicans have been successful at anything, gay rights, abortion, they change the rules. So first they say it should be the state legislatures that determine gay rights. And then they say, no, it should be the people. And no, it should be the judiciary. They keep changing the rules. Like with abortion, they said instead of trying to pass an abortion amendment, now they pass restrictions so that abortion is almost not plausible in most states. So they're going to change the rules on Trump. Somehow, some way, they're not going to give up their power.
Okay, so you're still sticking with the nominee will not be Trump.
Yes.
Susan, are you there? No, we've lost my. Susan. So whoa, Susan.
Yes.
She's back, but Mike's gone.
Okay, sorry.
You put me on hold.
Okay. Alex has been on vacation for a week, and he doesn't know where he is. He thinks he's skiing in New York State.
Well, I want credit for the fact that I didn't hang up. I just pretended like you were every other person that puts me on hold, and I put you on speakerphone, and I went about my business.
Okay. So, Mike, is Mike still there?
Mike's gone.
Oh, Mike's gone.
Yeah.
Jeez. So, Susan.
What did Mike want to say?
Well, Mike in D.C. has been maintaining and called to continue to maintain that Trump will not be the nominee. That somehow, he was saying what Gergen was, somehow they'll change the rules, they'll do something, they will not let him be the nominee.
Well, let me add this twist to that thought, because it has been my belief from the very beginning that he was never serious, that this was just another one of his, several runs at this where he's always been laughed off the stage. And this time he accidentally got traction.
Right.
And I don't think he wants it. So I think that the only way that scenario works is if Trump agrees to it and says, help me out of this. It's a face-saving move for him. It's a way for him to get out.
But his ego is so huge. I can't imagine him. I mean, I agree. I don't know how he sleeps at night.
Well, and I don't mean, he loves him some wives. And this one is much like the others, but I saw a very, good graphic on my iPad the other day that had Michelle Obama dressed up as some of her cover photos, asking whether.
What are you saying?
She was a cover model for a lot of men's magazines,
like Maxim. So so Trump's wife does. There's a lot of very naked pictures.
You could see a lot of her.
Yeah. Yeah, and that this would be, for a first lady. But, okay, so all of that, we know there's all this crap going on. But I still...
Well, that he's the darling of the conservatives. I mean, he's broken every one of their rules.
That's true. He totally is not
Which,
on
by
board
the way, is how I've always felt about most conservatives, which is they talk a good game and do whatever they damn please. It's to cover.
Right. Well... The other thing that Gergen said, I'm just recalling, and I think this is that they'll figure something out at the convention, whether Trump's part of it or not, and that they will, so who will get the nomination? Gergen was suggesting Mitt Romney.
Well, that worked well last time. I'm for that.
Well... That's what they're saying. They're a little surprised that Romney has not endorsed Rubio at this point. They're thinking maybe he's figuring this. They could turn and come to me as like the only person who's not besmirched by this childish, ridiculous campaign.
I just when you thought we couldn't, make ourselves look worse. Where's Richard Nixon when you need him?
Isn't it something? I mean, it is unbelievable.
Gerald Ford.
Where's anybody? Yeah.
I take Barry Goldwater.
I know.
He'd look like a radical Democrat at this point.
Oh my God!
But here's the other interesting. So the other interesting thing that I was thinking about this morning when I was looking at various and sundry things was the attempt of women who have had abortions and do not. Have not suffered long-term emotional debilitating consequences.
Right.
Did it for reasons that they still believe in.
Right.
Do not regret their decision and made it for good and righteous reasons. And they have all taken to writing letters to Kennedy.
To Justice Kennedy, because there's a Texas abortion bill that the court will be hearing that case tomorrow, I believe, and it's huge. It's huge.
It's huge, and with the deadlock court, that means that the lower decision
will stand, which is a wrong decision.
Right.
Which is just making it impossible for a woman in Texas to get an abortion. Kennedy.
But these women are trying to take a page out of the LBGQ whatever.
You forgot T.
Movement.
You forgot T.
Huh?
You forgot T.
I forgot T. I didn't mean to.
You went LBGQ.
And who have made such great strides, and the reason that everybody thinks that the strides were made is that people realized that they knew and loved gay people everywhere. And, they knew them. It humanized it, and suddenly those laws couldn't work.
So they want
these women feel very strongly that coming out of the shadows, saying this isn't a shameful thing, this was the right thing.
I've had an abortion.
I've had an abortion. It didn't. Yes, a small number of women have guilt feelings about it for the rest of their lives, but most of us made use of a medical procedure that was important to our lives and to our health at the time.
Right. So we all supposed to come out.
I don't know if we're all supposed to come out, but the fact of the matter is that the number of women that have had abortions is much larger than anybody thinks it is.
You betcha. Okay, yeah. So, speaking of the Supreme Court.
Clarence talked.
Clarence Thomas talks. And it's the weird thing is it is exactly 10 years and 1 week since he last uttered a word on the court.
Well, can I just say that exactly 10 years would be good, but 10 years and 1 week isn't exactly anything.
Touche. However, of course, he spoke because, well, here's what. What do you think? Either this shows that he didn't speak before because he was intimidated by Scalia sitting next to him, or Scalia was saying everything he would have said, or he now feels that he has to take up, be the originalist and ask the questions that Scalia would have asked. And this was a case, this is what prompted him to speak. This was a case about whether someone with misdemeanor convictions could still have a gun legally.
Misdemeanor conviction of a domestic abuse.
Domestic abuse,
I believe one of the people, one of the named plaintiffs says, just because I hit my wife once means I can't have my gun for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and Clarence took the guy's side.
Right.
Did you hear the funny thing that Alito said? I don't think of him as funny, but that Alito said when Scalia was still on the bench. Actually, maybe I have it right here. Okay, having to do with this originalism that he was, his whole idea was the court was there to interpret the Constitution in line with the beliefs of the guys who wrote the Constitution. So whatever they were thinking at that time is what the court then had to, which is, of course, absurd. I mean, but
that is the line of thinking.
Well, even Scalia said he doesn't think of it as a living document. It's a dead document. It was born and then set in amber when the Constitution was ratified. But trying to ascertain the intent of what was in Jefferson's mind, what was in Madison's mind, is absurd. And during an oral argument that was challenging a California law that required warning labels on violent video games, as the court was hearing this case, Scalia is hammering this person who's the lawyer who's arguing. And Justice Alito interrupts and says to the lawyer, I think what Justice Scalia wants to know is, what did James Madison think about video games? Did he enjoy them? There it is, the absurdity of it, and Alito made fun of it.
Right.
God. So I got that from a scathing piece on Scalia written by Jeffrey Toobin not many days after Scalia had shuffled off his mortal coil. So Toobin not going with the crowd and finding all these...
speaking ill of the dead.
Yeah. And can I share just a little bit of it just so we get Scalia right in our heads? Toobin says that he devoted his professional life to making the United States a less fair, less tolerant, and less admirable democracy. The great justices of the court have always looked forward. Their words anticipated and helped shape the nation. Scalia, in contrast, looked backward. I mean, truly looked backward. And he just, for instance, cites what Scalia wrote in his dissent in a case about homosexuality. I think this is the case. It's 2003. Is this the case, the sodomy case? I think it was. Do you remember that? There was a case where sodomy was still a felony or something in Texas, and it gets to the Supreme Court, 2003. And Scalia, the fact is that the Texas law said gay people could be thrown in prison for having consensual sex because it was sodomy. And Scalia, the court said, that's bullshit. Scalia, of course, dissented. And in his dissent, he said this: today's opinion is the product of a court, which is the product of a culture that has largely signed on to the homosexual agenda, by which I mean the agenda promoted by some homosexual activists directed at eliminating the moral opprobrium that has traditionally attached to homosexual conduct. Many Americans do not want persons who openly engage in homosexual conduct as partners in their business, as scoutmasters for their children, as teachers in their children's schools, or as boarders in their homes. They view this as protecting themselves and their families from a lifestyle that they believe to be immoral and destructive. That's the great jurist, Antonin Scalia. You look at his record on that court, he's on the wrong end of almost every case. So I ain't lauding him. I'll go with Tubin. Okay.
Well, to quote the great Kelly Clarkson, I was raised to say nothing. If I couldn't say something nice, I would say nothing at all. So this is me saying nothing at all about Justice Scalia. She used someone else's name in there at the end.
Who was she talking about?
She was talking about, what's his name, Dr. Luke, the guy that's accused, the producer that's accused of rape by, I don't know what's her name, Keisha. I don't know who any of these people are.
I don't either.
But Kelly Clarkson, I know who she is, and apparently he produced a record for her too. So basically, what she's saying is,
he's a dick.
Yeah.
But she didn't say it too forcefully.
She didn't say anything. She said, "This is me saying nothing at all."
Okay. So Donald Trump, I must admit, I'm still enjoying, even though Americans are just getting scared now. I am enjoying the freak out going on with the Republican establishment.
Well, it is really sort of just gobsmacking what he can get away with.
He can get away with anything.
And he laughs about it.
Right. And
he flat out says, I can say whatever I want. I could kill someone right now and it'd be okay.
Yeah. And you know what? I think somebody has sort of put their finger on it. He is, in every way, the anti-Obama. If Obama is reason and coolness...
No, he's white, puffy, ugly, bully, unreasonable. Blah.
Yeah, well, he's whatever. He is not in any way. I mean, in every way, they're just sort of direct opposites. But that's exactly what his supporters want. And again, back to Roger Cohen, I think he's got his finger on it too, because he says it's sort of like what Ronald Reagan had. He says, as with Reagan, it's not the specifics that draw people to Trump, because you don't get any. It is a feeling. It is a vibration. And it doesn't matter how much he dissembles, he reveals himself as a thug or traffics in contradictions. The people who are just wrapped at his feet, that's all they don't hear it.
Well, what's interesting to me is that not only does he not know anything about anything that he needs to know about if he's going to be the president, he refuses to be learning about it during this process.
Right, which is why he'll become...
Which is why I think he doesn't think he's going to do it.
Which is why he'll become unelectable when the general election starts, or you're saying he'll pull...
I think that he's
going,
I'm not
himself
about
out.
It. Somebody's going to get me out of this. Why should I spend all that time learning shit?
Beth writes, I think I've been saying since Trump gained momentum that he doesn't want to be the nominee, but wants to be the kingmaker. Furthermore, I wouldn't be surprised if someone in the Republican National Convention got David Duke to endorse Trump. Trump's own words are Teflon against him. Let's see if an endorsement from a vile person will hurt him. It won't. We have yet to hear if Duke endorsed Mitt or McCain. I'm now dreading family functions till this is all over.
I'm just telling you, I'm sitting here with my television on mute, and a PAC, Conservatives for, Solutions or something, is running an anti-Trump ad that is highlighting everything he's been saying. Ends with I love poorly educated people. But I mean, it's headlines ripped from everywhere saying he uses the federal government as a hired gun. He kicked disabled veterans off of Fifth Avenue. It's just, it's all true. It's just everything he's done is ripped from the headlines. But I don't think it'll do anything.
It sure hasn't up to this point. I mean, this is the most Teflon-coated candidate I have ever seen because the people who are taken by him, they don't care about.
They don't care. They think. Apparently, he says what they all believe.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So Europeans are starting to freak, as you can imagine. The German paper Der Spiegel is calling Trump the world's most dangerous man, and even in an editorial seemed to be suggesting that they yearned for the good old days when George W. Bush was president, which is unbelievable since, I mean, they couldn't stand George W. Bush. But, democracies, like what we supposedly have, can die. And, and
this country could disappear.
Right, and they do die. I mean, ask a European. Ask a European how 1 minute, look at Germany, how 1 minute you can have a democracy and then some upstart who nobody takes seriously. His name was Adolf Hitler. I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler, but I'm saying this is how it happens.
But others are.
Yes, and in a time of, all kinds of people angry and blah, blah, blah. And bango, all of a sudden, your country's gone. We have a call. Let's try to do this. All right, here we go. Hello, caller. No.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, Alex isn't figuring this out. Do I have a caller?
Hi.
Hi.
The thing about Donald Trump, he cannot agree to disagree with you if you say something that challenges him or he doesn't believe in. And he will punish you in some way if you do that. He will either belittle you, he will sue you, he will call you a liar, and I can't believe we're going to elect somebody like that president of the United States.
Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I don't think we will either, because I do have more faith in the American people than that. God help us.
And you know what? Congress allowed this man to live.
Congress allowed this man to what?
Live as a candidate.
Oh. I thought you were saying they put out a fat, why they should put a fat on.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yes.
I mean, his success is just people's repudiation, I guess is the best word, of government.
Okay. I thank you.
So any senator or member of the House who looks in the mirror, they're looking at the person who let Donald Trump have all the success he's having.
Well, yeah, they're party to it. If there's no doubt our politics have been dysfunctional and corrupted, and here we go. Thank you for your call.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So now, Susan, are you there?
Yeah, now I'm here.
Okay, so something's wrong, and every time we take a call, you can't.
You put me on hold, and I, being a lovely human being,
I already said that. I know. Put us on speaker and sit around doing something. I know. All right. Here, wait. Chuck's giving us the latest CNN poll. New CNN poll released today show that Clinton would have trouble beating Rubio and Cruz. They also suggest that Sanders would do better overall in November. Oh, my God. Clinton versus Trump. Clinton wins. Sanders versus Trump. Trump wins with a little bit more than, I don't know. Clinton versus Rubio. Rubio wins. Sanders versus Rubio. Sanders wins. Clinton versus Cruz. It's a squeaker, but Cruz wins. Sanders versus Cruz. Sanders wins.
So this misogynist country, there's absolutely only one way to look at that. I'm sorry.
It's people not wanting to vote for a woman?
It's people not voting. If there's a man to vote for, they'll vote for the man.
Oy. Well,
shame on us.
I was talking to a friend the other day who said, I've already called the Clinton campaign and said, I will do anything you want me to do. I will knock on doors. I will touch phone. He said, we've got to start working for her now because the stakes are just too high.
You bet.
And that's a guy.
Good.
Yeah. We have another call, so Susan, get ready to,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'll pay some bills.
Okay. Caller, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Doing fine.
Hey, Lynn, I find it outrageous. The Republican Party thinks, oh, my God, we can't have Trump for president. When they had George W. Bush, it had people killed for no reason at all, lied to the American people, but that was all just like covered up, and the hell with it. But, Trump's going to be the worst. And another thing, this thing with the Jake Trapper, which I mentioned yesterday, he didn't kiss his ring the third time, and he's not. All of a sudden, do you have pictures of him out with the Ku Klux Klan? I mean, come on, that story was so bunch of bullshit. I mean, the guy didn't say nothing about it. And I'm not a Trump fan.
Well, but
I
I
think
mean,
he's
he
gonna
did
lose.
say, Trump did say, I don't even know who David Duke is, which is talk about
Well, he's
bullshit.
probably so sick of these damn media people asking the same questions over and over.
Are you falling under Trump's spell?
No, that's what my wife said. She said, I think you like Trump. I said, no.
Are you
There's
sure?
some things I like about him, but I don't. I'm not going to, when somebody didn't really do anything, if they found him burning crosses and dressed up in white, yeah, I could say, okay, the guy's no damn good. But they haven't proven that.
Well,
his whole career hasn't proven that.
Let me just say that the Republican Party, for decades now, has been, if not racist, definitely a party that enables racists. Their whole Southern strategy was based on scaring people about
I agree with
black
that.
people. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, a racist is more comfortable without a doubt, more comfortable in the Republican Party. So, again, Trump is just, sorry, guys, you look in the mirror, as another caller said, and this is what you get. This is your base, and this is who they love, and you've taught them well.
But another thing, when he talked about the Mexicans, he didn't say all the Mexicans are criminals. We could say white people are criminals. We could say black people are criminals. He didn't say all you Mexicans are no damn good, you're criminals. He just said some of them are. But there again, they blew it all out of proportion.
You're into Trump.
No.
You're defending him.
I'm defending what's right and what's wrong.
He very clearly
said,
said,
exaggerate a story like they do, the press does, then I don't believe in it. You're not going to blow a story up and make me believe that he completely hates all the Mexicans or he thinks they're all criminals, because that's not what he said. Now, I don't agree with the guy on building the wall. I think that's kind of crazy. And there's a lot of things I don't agree with him. But there are three things I do agree with him on, which is trade and maybe two things. He's not going to do nothing to Social Security. Those things I agree with him on. The rest of the stuff I don't. But I just get sick of the media always blowing it out of proportion.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I don't know if you see that, and you
No,
probably don't.
no. The media has been playing that. Of course, the media has been playing this to its own benefit. Because even the head of CBS apparently said something you shouldn't have said out loud. He said Trump's been very good for our bottom line. Okay, so they know this, and playing the Trump card they've been playing since Trump got in is really working for them. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye and get my sister back on, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Jeez, I think that guy's starting to like Trump. Susan.
Yes.
That caller, you couldn't hear him, huh?
No.
Well, that caller calls regularly, and he's somewhat oh, no.
Oh, it's okay. I have to sneeze anyway.
Okay, okay, thanks. Hello, caller.
Hello. I also want to agree with Susan. I don't think we should ever underestimate the hatred of women, especially in the state of Pennsylvania. just look at the lack of numbers of women in the State House, and also the attacks on birth control and abortion at our clinics, and even the Catholic Church's fight against covering birth control in the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
I think that prejudice against a woman leader is not spoken, but definitely alive and well in the state we live in, even with some of my women friends who have greatly benefited from pensions that their unions fought for them, who are now and always have been members of the Republican Party. I just don't get it.
I mean, I understand, and I'm with you. It is something, and I feel for Hillary in some ways. I really do. But yeah, we got to get behind her and work hard. Bernie ain't gonna make it. He ain't gonna make it.
And I love that guy.
I love him too. But Hillary is the only hope to keep some semblance of sanity in this country. Good God.
I know. I just wish that she was anti-fracking for the people that live in the state of Pennsylvania, because she lives in a state where...
Well, is never a perfect candidate, and God knows she ain't. But
hey, you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Susan. Okay, Suze.
I lost her.
You lost Susan too? Okay, so we're calling Susan back. Sorry for all this. And the caller brings up this point about, agreeing with Susan about Hillary's gender really costing her votes, much like Obama's skin cost him votes. However, Obama also attracted votes because of his skin color. Okay, let's get Susan. Okay, Susan?
Just 1 second.
Okay, hang on. Susan?
Well, I just have to do it. Just give me 1 second.
Oh. Jesus Christ. So, okay, Susan?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We will not take any more calls, okay?
No way.
No, because the caller wanted to agree with you. I just want to tell you, she wanted to agree with what you said about it's clearly misogynistic. Yeah. And even among women, how women don't even, see. So I was saying...
Well, not to defend what Madeleine Albright said, but women are not necessarily women's best friends.
Mm-mm. I agree. So I was just saying that Hillary, just like Obama, is going to lose a ton of votes. Obama because his skin color, Hillary because of her gender. However, However, Obama also attracted tons of votes because of his skin color. Not only African Americans voting for him, but also white people wanting desperately to break that barrier and elect an African American. So his skin color.
And not only that, I didn't vote for Obama because he was black.
No.
I thought that was a really cool side effect.
Right, exactly. So it helped in some ways and hurt him in others. I don't know if anybody's ever crunched the numbers and tried to figure out whether it was a plus or a minus. Hillary, though, her gender is just a minus, clearly, because women are not necessarily saying, young women aren't, older women aren't, oh my God, she's one of us, we got to elect her. That's not happening. So her gender...
No, as a matter of fact, the constituency, the young people that want change, this isn't their issue, they could care less.
I know. So her gender is a real problem. And do not discount the sort of unconscious sexism that affects people listening and watching a woman speak strongly and seek power and all that stuff. We have been conditioned for centuries to react negatively to a woman doing that.
It's sort of interesting, that it's the United States that has this problem, the champion of everybody being free and equal, Europe doesn't have this problem. They had women monarchs, they've had queens.
Well, they've even had
they've had prime ministers.
Some have, and even Muslim countries have had women. What the hell was that? That was Ernie.
That was Ernie.
What, was he yawning?
He was whining a little bit. He's going, I'm bored. You're sitting on the phone for an hour.
All right, fine. Just a sec, Ernie. Hang on. I'll give her back to you in a few minutes. So I don't know if you saw the piece by this is an author who's writing a book about Queen Victoria, speaking of monarchs. And she wrote a piece in the New York Times a few days ago called Sarah Palin's Mustache. Did you read that?
No.
Well, it turns out this woman who wrote this was a senior editor at Newsweek when Palin was the vice presidential candidate. And they ran a cover story on her. And the editor in charge of what is on the cover said he wanted a more, a strong image of her. He didn't want anything that was too far away. He wanted a closely cropped image of her. And they didn't want to take they had a ton of pictures of her. They were just going to take a picture they had. And so they set up the cover, and it was a woman on the staff who noticed that the cropped picture made, Sarah Palin
gave her a mustache and pointed out her mustache.
It pointed out there was a few little unintended hair on her upper lip and a little bit in her eyebrow area. So what you normally wouldn't have seen, now you could see. And she said, geez, maybe, and the editor, a man, said, no, I really like her strong eye contact in this picture. And in any case, he says, nobody's going to notice that. What, you got a little hair here and a little hair there. So it hit the newsstands, and
big mistake.
All hell broke loose. Conservative commentators said Newsweek was trying to take her down. They were trying to damage her. Here is a media business analyst said it was an insult. And he said what Newsweek was saying essentially was, how do you like her now that you've seen her crow's feet, her clumpy mascara, her bloodshot eyes, her faint mustache, her cakey makeup, her gaping pores? Newsweek was accused of out-and-out sexism because they did not airbrush the photo. And the woman who's writing this says, the truth was, we had portrayed her the same way we do male candidates.
Right. They show the warts and all the time.
You see the pores and the this and the that on men's faces all the time. And nobody says boo. They might say, ooh, that's not a particularly flattering picture. That's closer than I want to get to him. But you do it for a woman, and it's considered an outrage. So it's really weird. Treating her like you treat a man results in charges of sexism.
There are absolutely no-win situations.
Right.
It's why the woman who said, use another picture, was right. You could have used the same picture pulled back, and nothing would have happened.
So the woman writing this says, close-up photos of men are used all the time without being touched up. In fact, the cragginess of a man's face is thought to express character. And so all of this reveals that we do not look at a woman in the same way we look at a man, and what is viewed in men as signs of authority are viewed in women as signs of shame. Ain't that the truth?
Yes.
It's the truth. So put this on all the baggage Hillary's got to be carrying on her back. Baggage of her own making, baggage of Bill's making, baggage of right-wing media's making, and baggage of our just ingrained sexism that affects women as well as men. And I don't know. This woman goes on to say, we think of ourselves as liberated, yet it's still considered shameful for a woman's upper lip to be imperfectly depilated. The hair not yanked out properly. Yeah. So the point is that when a woman like Hillary Clinton is speaking to us, we are distracted in a way that we are not when a man is speaking to us. I don't know. All the more reason to...
All the more reason. No, I'm at the point where I'm going to do the same thing with Hillary. It's time to stop sitting on the sidelines and
get to work.
And get to work. Absolutely.
Right. Jeez. All right. Well, that brings us. Hang on. Oh, good news too. Supreme Court, and we want to thank Antonin Scalia for dropping dead. Apparently, with now only 8 people on the court, and it's pretty much 4-4. A lot of people who have business heading toward the court are saying, "Uh-oh, well, without our friend Scalia there, maybe we just better settle this.
Not go."
Yeah. So the first shoe that fell is Dow Chemical, which was heading to the court, a very friendly court with Scalia there. And without Scalia, they just decided last week, okay, we're going to settle this baby. And they agreed to pay almost $1 billion to settle a case rather than risking this Supreme Court without Scalia.
Right.
And so, because this was a class action suit, and Scalia has been part and parcel of the incredibly successful effort on this behalf of this court to destroy the ability of class action suits to go forward. And so at least in this case, the corporation that was assuming he would be there for him has decided, oh, hell, we ain't going. We'll just... Anyway, somebody else says, so this is a canary in the coal mine, the first casualty on the business side, because Scalia was a crucial vote on the court, a 5th vote, and he wrote the opinions in previous cases and tightening the standards in class actions. So Dow thought, uh-oh, without him, we're going to get screwed. We're just going to cut and run. And... that will be the calculation made by a lot of other corporations now. The court ain't as friendly, as sure a thing anymore. So, I have an obit, Suze.
Yes.
Oh, I always do. Yolanda, I don't know how to pronounce this. Yolanda Betbees Fox. What a weird name.
Yeah, who's she?
Well, I'm looking at a picture of her from 1960, and man, she's a babe. She looks a little like, she's better looking, but she looks a little like Mick Jagger's first wife.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Who just married what's-his-name, or is marrying what's-his-name?
No, Jerry Hall wasn't his first wife.
Oh, she was his second wife, right?
Yeah. The first wife was she a Nicaraguan who looked like...
Oh, I remember her, right.
Looked like him.
Right.
They looked like twins.
Right.
They looked like they were separated at birth.
And they had Bianca.
And they had Bianca?
Yeah, I think Bianca Jagger is their daughter.
Okay. So anyway, This woman looks sort of like that, sort of an exotic look, but she's prettier. And it turns out she's so pretty, she was Miss America. She was Miss America in 1951. She was
the year I was born.
Yeah, Suze. And she was Miss Alabama, and she was educated in a convent. So she was a Southern girl, a Catholic girl, a convent-educated, and Miss America of 1951. And she won the title and then immediately began to cause trouble. She did not behave like you would assume a Southern belle in 1951, raised in a convent, not raised in a convent, educated in a convent, would act.
A naughty girl, was she?
No, she wasn't naughty. She said they kept wanting her to pose, always be in a bathing suit. One of the big sponsors was Catalina, which made women's bathing suits, I guess men's too. And she said, I will not wear that bathing suit. I'm an opera singer, not a pinup. And she refused to pose in bathing suits. The Catalina then withdrew as the pageant sponsor and began a rival contest, Miss USA. Which brings us back to Donald Trump, right?
Right. He got rid of it. He sold it after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, in an interview in 1969, she told the Washington Post, there was nothing but trouble from the minute that damn crown touched my head. 1951. Wow, she was so far ahead of her time. She became a model, a theatrical producer, and a social activist. I'm looking at a picture. The picture I'm looking at her, she's picketing Woolworths. Because in 1960, supporting the black sit-ins at lunch counters in the South. She's just gorgeous. In 1953, get this, 1 year after her reign ends, she is on a picket line outside of Sing Sing prison protesting the impending execution of the Rosenbergs.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't even know. She said, yes, I'm a Southern girl, but I'm a thinking girl. People say she was the most unconventional Miss America ever. After she finally got rid of the crown, she studied philosophy at the New School for Social Research. And she later moved to Washington, where she must have had a lot of money, where she bought the Georgetown mansion formerly owned by Jackie Onassis.
Wow.
I know. And she was really, in the 60s, she was all over the Miss America pageant for its lack of racial diversity. And she said, you can't call this the Miss America title if it's not open to all Americans. And then by the 70s, she was saying the pageant was just a sexist bunch of crap. And this is, whoever heard of her? How come I never heard of her?
Yeah, well, I don't know. They must have silenced her pretty well.
Yeah, but man, she's a looker. Wow. She was of Basque descent, so she has sort of this exotic. Alex, look at her. Don't you think that's good looking? What'd you say?
I said, oh boy.
Oh boy, he said.
That is a hard name, though.
Oh boy, that's a hard name. Speaking of good-looking people, I was talking to our brother last night, who's heading to Iceland, to Reykjavik.
Which he calls the land of the best-looking people ever.
Yes, and then he said, have you seen a picture of the mayor?
Oh, yes, he made me look at a picture of the mayor, too. Isn't he gorgeous?
He has to be, like, the most gorgeous. He is like, wah. How can that be a mayor? Jeez. And for a man like our brother to be, to look at the picture and say, gee whiz, look at that guy. Check out the mayor of Reykjavik, Iceland. Man, is he gorgeous. Like supermodel gorgeous.
Sister, you're so concerned with all things superficial.
Today?
Yeah. You've gone from Sarah Palin's mustache to Miss America to the mayor of Reykjavik.
Yeah, well, and guess what?
I'm all for it. Talking about Trump makes me go other places, too.
Yeah, it really is unbelievable. But you have to admit, it's frighteningly fascinating. Okay, so now I've just been sent something about why Hillary is not a good candidate and not very electable. God. Because of, and she's not. I mean, it's hard to, she's so establishment. The coziness with Wall Street is what makes me particularly skittish. But man, she looks so much better than a Donald Trump that you're just going to have to hold your nose. Hold the nose.
Yeah, sorry.
And
you got to do what's right.
I guess.
And stop thinking of all these reasons why you don't want to vote for a girl, because, frankly, I think that's all it is.
Well, not totally. I mean, not totally. Not in my case.
No, she comes with plenty of baggage. I know. But a lot of it's just made up. I mean, I think this whole email thing is just such bogus crapola.
Well, it seems to me that is bull, too. But
it's bogus. It's just bogus.
Well,
I mean, these are things
she
that
shouldn't
people
have done
send
it.
her
Yeah,
on
but
her
she
email.
shouldn't have done it. I mean, here again, the Clintons caused their own trouble. She caused that problem herself. They're really good at doing that kind of stuff. Hey, somebody sent me a joke, and then we got to stop.
Okay.
What does Bill say to Hillary after sex?
What?
I'll be home in 20 minutes.
That's terrible.
Okay, that's it.
I think that's terrible.
Yes, it's terrible. And, Suze, we're past time, so I have to go. Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye. Guys, talk at you tomorrow. Toodles.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday.